Youngpreneurs Podcast, episode number 132, with your host, Victor Ahipenny. What's up, world? Another day, another podcast, and today I'm super stoked to have one of my good friends on, James Rose. And James is the founder of Aktura Technology. It's a super cool company that we delve into in the show. But more importantly, he has gone from that kind of university mindset, 9 to 5, to now creating multiple different businesses. Some have succeeded, some have failed. And he's doing some really cool things. He's got great systems in place, and we kind of delve into not only his business journey, but also some cool learnings along the way, which I'm sure you'll all take some value out of. If you enjoy this show, I'd love it if you could jump over to iTunes, leave us a review. It helps get this out to more people, or share it with a friend who you think might find this valuable. Again, you can find everything in the show notes at passiveincomeyoung.com, and don't forget to jump over to our website, and there is a free video training to help you get your first online business started with $0 down. In the meantime, guys, grab a pen and paper. There's a ton of value in here, but keep living life on your own terms. You're listening to the Youngpreneurs Podcast, the number one resource online for under 35-year-olds, where we chat twice a week to the most inspiring entrepreneurs in the world. We have it all. If you're looking for inspiration, guidance, or actionable tips to help you transition from that job into a business, or if you're ready to take that business to a whole new level, then this is the place to be. Get ready to live life on your own terms. Youngpreneurs, what is up? Welcome to another episode of the Youngpreneurs Podcast. Super stoked to have you here. As always, you're some of the 5 people that you hang out with the most, and you chose to spend some time with me. And today's guest, a good friend of mine, James Rose from Aktura Technologies. Welcome to the show.
Hey, man, they're hanging out with you all the time? They're kind of screwed then, aren't they?
Exactly, and so everyone can expect hopefully a little bit of banter, because at the moment I've got Top Gun on the other end of the line. I'm going to but after this, James is apparently doing Movember, and he has this awesome 1970s mustache with some airline type headphones and a microphone. So you're spending your time with Top Gun and me.
Love it.
With I obviously know I know a lot about what James does and does behind the scenes, but man, starting out for you was entrepreneurship always on the cards? Was that what it was like from day one, growing up?
Oh, hell no. Total academic nerd in school, man. It was like fully in the system. So, like sort of wanker, top of class type crap. It's like, I don't know. I guess to me, it was like school's what I'm doing. So I'll just try to do good at that, and just did what society tells you to do. Through to your work and everything, right? Even for my first sort of 4 years on the job.
It's real. It's terrible when you are quite smart at school as well, because you do get funneled into that, like, teachers, oh, you're really bright, you'll become this, a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, or whatever, and it kind of becomes your societal stigma. Like I only really know one of my friends who was incredibly bright, but just didn't drink the Kool-Aid, and he did do university, but he's never worked for anyone in his life. So it's how did you kind of, because you did, for everyone out there, James did engineering, eh?
Yeah, I did. Just on that, by the way, like, I think it has a lot to do with your family and how you grow up. Like if you come from a family that have jobs, it's a bit different than like I didn't even consider the possibility of owning a business, right? Like, so, and that's all it took for me, is to go, hang on, what? You can make money on the internet? That's all it was. And you're like, oh crap, well maybe I should do that.
Yeah. I agree. I was the same. Like, mum always had a job, and she was just like, get an education so you get paid a bit more in your job. But she also let me have a bit of freedom as well in that sense. But it was like you said, like, you kind of think the rich are rich and they've got these businesses because of some, unheralded gift
Yeah.
or luck or whatever. And then
Yep.
I guess once you start boiling down to it, it's not the case. And hopefully people out there listening, we're about 140 episodes deep of people who have been in a pretty similar position and realize that life hasn't been handed to them on a platter, but you can go out and chase it. So
Yeah, exactly.
we'll jump back to you growing up. So I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
parents, job, education, university. What was the snap point? What was the turning point where you're like, obviously, oh man, I can make money on the internet?
Yeah, it was actually a conference I went to with a mate of mine. Had those like 1 day, 2 day things? They're free and they just pitch the shit out of everybody.
Yeah.
What's your swearing policy, by the way? Do you care?
Oh, no.
Nah, good. Yeah, so it was one of those things. It was here in Brisbane. Andrew and Daryl Grant, I believe, but they actually had legit content. They were talking about selling affiliate products on like ClickBank affiliate products and trying to build websites and rank for them and make money that way. And that's what got me started. I sort of went home going, holy crap, you can make money like without a product and all that. It didn't go very well. And not at that thing anyway, but that was like 2009, and that was what it was for me. Is just that switch, like I was saying, man. Like once you realize what's possible, you go, oh man, like why wasn't I doing this before?
Yeah, and it's super leverageable. So you kind of I wouldn't say failed, but you did that. What was your next step along the online world?
Oh, that was actually not that long after that. I probably did that for a year. I mean, we were starting to make okay money. This is like in the AdSense gold rush where you'd just pump out lots of sites, rank them in Google for whatever keywords you were targeting, and then make money off affiliate stuff and AdWords. I mean, wasn't doing a huge amount, but a lot of what we did then was article spinning. Which, pretty dodgy SEO tactic now, but back then everyone was doing it, and it was a method of taking one article, turning into like 100, and then posting it all around the web with links to your site for SEO.
Yeah.
And the tools that were out at the time for that were total shit. And me and my current business partner were sort of at lunch one day, engineering day job, and went, this is crap. Why don't we just build our own? And we did, and I don't know if you know, but engineers aren't very good at sales. So we had
people.
Yeah. So we built a product that just blew everything out of the water at the time, and we just had no idea how to sell it. So everyone that found it was like, "Oh my god, it's amazing!" But not many people found it. That's still going. Like that product's still selling, and it's actually making a reasonable amount these days. I don't know who still buys article spinners, but
And what is it? For everyone out there? Is it a one-time purchase or is it a monthly subscription?
As both. It was a 3 monthly subscription quarterly, or you could buy a lifetime subscription as well, because that actually, most people say don't ever do lifetime stuff, but with us, I think most people don't hang on for more than a couple of years anyway. So if you charge them a couple of years worth of fees up front, it actually works out better.
So you don't have to worry about the churn rate and people
that's right.
off early and then having to have people who stick around longer.
Yeah.
So obviously the SEO, was it Panda or Google Panda or something? Their update?
Yeah, so that was the one that was supposed to wipe everyone out, but it didn't wipe us out. And I think that may have been because I guess a lot of the spun content we were using was like better spun than what most people did. But over time, it was kind of sort of, it only took me losing a couple of my key sites or, over time, because, I probably had like 20, 25 sites and you slowly neglect them. And then, if they're not making as much money. So we actually moved on to, we wanted to find another problem to solve once we decided that SpinChimp wasn't the future and no one was article spinning anymore. So I started networking with small businesses they just like, first 3 years of business, I don't think I spoke to a human being in real life. So actually getting out and talking to people, and as I do, people put IT and computers and web all in the same bucket. So as soon as we said we did software, people would go, "Oh man, I hate my web developer. He's so shit. He doesn't respond to emails, and he's vaporized, or I've got this crap site that cost me $5,000 and it's total trash." And so that's how we got into websites. It's kind of like, why don't we just do this, not suck at it? We've been building websites for 3 years anyway, so let's just do it for other people. And that's where we are now.
And so, you've obviously got a pretty cool catchphrase, but I mean, there's before we delve into that, there's a lot of web developers out there. Like every man and his dog is a web developer, or so they say. And as you say, a lot of them suck, or they don't know what they're doing, or they tell you they know how to make awesome Wix sites, or whatever it is. Believe it or not, this podcast is not sponsored by Wix. But what's your point of difference? How do you separate yourself from the crowd? That's a pretty heavily I go to a networking event and everyone happens to be a web developer there.
Yeah, that's it. And I didn't know that coming in. We kind of just did our thing and got referrals and didn't really think about it, and for the first little bit. But obviously, come to realize that every man and their dog, as you say, is a web developer. But I've always struggled with this whole what's your point of differentiation? Because I find that kind of bullshit, because most businesses, especially in the service space, most of them are the same. Might be able to offer slightly different things, but all try to come up with this bullshit point of difference. Especially accountants, right? It's pretty. You either have a shitty accountant or a mediocre accountant or someone who actually gives a shit. That's pretty much the three. What else can you offer? And it's kind of the same with web, right? And I came to terms with this a lot better at Peter Shankman's talk at Tropical Think Tank, when he said these days you've only got to be one level above shit and you're better than most people. And that really struck a chord with me, especially in this space, because I feel I'm just doing my job, right? I'm making sure that clients get the website that they need, that it's going to keep running, that it's not going to fall over in 6 months' time because they're using some crappy forest theme. Just doing stuff that I would consider my job and something I should do as a good person. But that instantly puts us ahead of most people in this space, because I don't know what it is, whether they just don't give a shit or they don't know what they're doing. I think there's a bit of all of it.
Yeah.
But, and that's actually a big problem for us, because we're digging through that, right? Most of our clients have been burned really, really hard by someone else. And I don't know. I have no answer to why that is. It just seems to happen.
Yeah, I agree though, man. For everyone out there, I've just kind of gone 360 back to kind of physioing, but I've got slightly bigger visions for it. But when you're saying not being shit and being better than most, I see the thing with a lot of business owners, a lot of skilled people. So let's say in physio, there's a lot of skilled physios out there. It's not hard to come by a skilled physiotherapist. There's some that are average, and then there's quite a few that are quite good. But then a lot of them, they think that the next career progression is to own a business, and that's when they're shit. That's when they're useless. And so they go from, okay, how can I take my income to a higher level? I'm going to start a business. And then they realize that they're back to ground zero. They don't know how to generate leads. They don't know how to nurture their clients, rather than, making sure that they come back and providing a good service. But then they don't know that they slowly, they get success because after a while you have enough clients coming in the door that your books are full. So you decide to hire someone else, but then they hire them and they don't know how to fill their books. So they're stressing out that this new person isn't good enough, that they've got money flowing out the door. And I mean, I looked at it, and when one of our mutual friends offered me this opportunity to kind of come in there, I was like, okay, I can learn to do Google AdWords better. I can do Facebook boosted posts locally to a demographic. I can put new clients into an email nurturing marketing campaign so they get to know me and refer, and then have good referral, offers for friends and family and stuff like that. And I'm like, just knowing that and knowing my friends who do physio and who run businesses that I work with, I automatically think all of those back end systems are better than 99% of other practice
Oh
systems
yeah,
out
you're already so far ahead.
there. And so like it was kind of, and I know this is kind of the thing. It's like I'm like, if I can fill one room up, I can do exactly the same marketing campaigns and fill up a second client. I can step away, and then I'm like, man, if I turn this into systems, I can franchise or get these physios who are great at it and get them to run the clinics, and then just provide them all the tools that they need. And it's just
Hell yeah.
I agree. There's no but to me the unique point of difference there is just the stuff that they're not good at, teaching people how to be business owners or run successful businesses. But no, that's cool, because I mean, what is your, for everyone out there, what's your slogan? Your
the full one or the short one?
Both, man.
Well, I mean, we normally just say web developers that don't suck, but the full one's web developers that respond to emails, finish the job, and don't suck, because they're the three biggest complaints that I heard before we got into the game. So,
and I think, I think that's awesome, because you're putting a pretty bold statement out there. Like, if you suck, like, people are going to know, and they're going to know really quickly. They're going to get pissed, and they'll spread the word about. If you put if you just say we're a web developer and then you end up sucking, people are going to get a bit pissed, but they're like, oh, they haven't got that high expectation. If you're like, we don't suck, we do reply to emails, and we get the job done, and you don't, then you're putting yourself out there. But that's often what you need, is to put yourself out there and be like, what's up, everyone? This is how we roll. And
yeah, it's kind of like a mission statement that we've got to like hold ourselves to as well. Like, if I've got an email sitting there for a couple of days that I haven't got back to yet, then it's almost like cognitive dissonance. It's like, shit, I got to get on that now, because it's been a couple of days. And if we're producing something that isn't good, like, I mean, one time we did do that. We had a website that wasn't, by the end of the job, it had sort of changed a few times and become something that wasn't good. So I ended up offering to tear the whole thing out, start again for free. Because it's like I don't know, like, you can't go around saying that stuff and then not be it.
Yeah, it's your business card, man.
Yeah.
It's your walking business card in the sense of, we're a web developer. Well, what websites have you done? This. Okay. What do your clients have to say? Yeah, that we're awesome.
Yeah.
So let's kind of start at the start of Aktura. You and your business partner, it was a 2-man band to start off with.
Yes.
You were doing a lot of the stuff.
To be honest, it was mostly me at the beginning, because my business partner was still working on the other software. Because I mean, that's still been selling the whole time, and it's needed a bit of love and care over the years and that. So in the beginning, it was me. Like, I was just going to networking events and building the websites, and yeah, we probably did that for a few months at least.
And was there like a burnout point or a like capacity point where you thought like something has to change here, and what was it?
I do remember the big burnout point is because back then we were doing like $500 sites, because I was like, man, we can churn these out. But what ended up happening is you only have a couple of bad clients in amongst a pile of like 15, 20, and that ruins the profit of 20 jobs. So what it was, because I mean, I've outsourced in our previous stuff as well, whether it be SEO or some web development. We'd done a fair bit of outsourcing, so it just became a matter of trying to hire someone. And we went through a whole bunch of contractors, like we were doing the whole Upwork thing for a while, having sort of guys on call that if I was overloaded, I could get them in.
Yeah.
But man, like I tell a lot of people this, two things. If you got to hire full time, basically. Like, contractors, especially offshore, can be really, really unreliable. If they get another big job in, they're going to prioritize that over yours. And if you've got deadlines for your clients, then you're kind of high and dry and totally screwed. So if you've got people who are full time working for you, it just changes that so much. Like, they show up every day, even if they're not fully utilized at first. It's just so good to be able to throw any task and know it's going to get done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and then it just became a matter of refining our hiring process. Because the other thing I say is like, if you're not a developer, you can't hire developers because you don't know what good code looks like unless you know how to code. I think that's how a lot of web devs get, or web designers kind of get screwed up as well, as they try and offshore development that they don't really understand, and they get screwed over by dodgy developers offshore. Uh, so yeah, I mean, and then it kind of just naturally grew from there, right? Like hired one guy, hired two guys, hired three guys, and then went, oh man, I can't manage this, so hired a project manager. It was very, very, natural and organic. It's just once you've got a few guys on board, and you're trying to get jobs in and manage those jobs and check that all the work they're doing is okay. It's like, well, no, now we need someone to manage this stuff. And now we're up to, I think, six guys, a designer, and a project manager.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what does that mean that you do within the business now?
Most of the time it's quoting is pretty much what's left for me. Because the rest of it, like I'll quote up a job, I'll have it in my head what I've got to, what it's got to look like. So I'll just hit record on Camtasia and go through what I think the tech specs will be and that to my team, and they watch it and they make it happen.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's and it all comes down to process, right? Like having those processes and things in place so that can all happen.
So with that, I just want to get a couple of tips for people out there. So if people are looking to use a web developer, ideally you, but if they're looking to use a web developer and they're kind of like a newish business, or they're just looking to rebrand and they have no idea kind of where to start, what are the things that that they should look for, and what are the things that make your job easier? Like, for me, it's like, oh, I can't design. Like, what sort of information do I need to get across to somebody? What kind of copy do I need on the site? How would you recommend somebody who's starting out navigates that kind of minefield?
You mean to actually, like, in the process of finding a developer, how they should look?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, one of the first things I'd do is check the site speed of their website.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good test, because if someone, like, site speed's so important now, and a lot of the dodgy stuff can be attributed to, like bad code and stuff, or like, not knowing what they're doing, often comes back to reflects as a slow website.
Yeah.
So, if they've got like a 5-second plus loading website, then I'd be pretty wary right out of the gate. That's a really good filter.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And how would people check that?
You can go to tools.pingdom.com, or you can just search like site speed test. There's heaps. There's GT metrics. There's Pingdom is the one I often use. So tools.pingdom.com. And so you just punch in the URL and hit go, and it'll give you a load time and a performance grade and all this different stuff. Because, like, for example, like, I'm very, very against using theme forest themes, because they've been the bane of our existence for, we used them for the first sort of year and a half and then went, oh man, this is bad. And so we stopped using them because they're often falling, they have dodgy plugins that either open up security holes, or there's a whole bunch of reasons. I've got a blog post on it if anyone's curious. But that's like one thing I use now. Like, if I see developers using theme forest themes, I'm like, man, I don't know if you guys know what you're doing.
It's good to know, though. Those things are super important for, there's a lot of business owners out there who are getting started, and it's the not knowing what you don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, for me, I'm not a developer. I don't know a lot of the stuff. I understand quite a lot of what you're talking about, but I don't go, oh, what theme should I use? Oh, I don't know. Like, what design, or what design do I want? I don't know. So what is maybe a couple of tips that people should look to have on their website? Because I think a lot of people don't realize why they should have a website.
Right.
People get a website because they think their business needs a website to have a presence.
Yep.
More so than to convert and drive them business. Like, I think that's where a lot of people stuff out. They just go, I've got to have a website because every business has a website nowadays.
Yeah, look, it depends so much on the industry, right? Like for some businesses, a brochure website, you know, it might just be that, just because they need to have a website, you know, like in a referral-based business, for example, like an accountant. Like I know a few accountants that have tried to get the sort of funnel kind of process going, and it hasn't worked so well. But and I know like accountants that, sorry, guys that do marketing for accountants, where that they've said this to me, where they're like, all accountants need is a website that is basically where their potential clients can go check them out and make sure they're legit.
Yeah.
Because it's all so referral based, right? So in that case, it might not be that crucial to have, you know, all kinds of conversion optimization type stuff done on it. But if you're talking an online business where you're selling like coaching and then like like courses and then coaching and whatever, then you're going to need that deal flow. But I think across the board, there's two major things that every site needs, and that's a very, very clear and concise, I guess, USP or unique selling proposition, or a tagline or something that tells people what you do to a T within 3 seconds of looking at the site. And that's why I guess the hero image with a headline has become so popular, because it does that. I think that's number one. Like, so that's just one obvious thing. You know, you go to websites where there's like, if your eyes like dart around to like 4 different things as soon as you land on a website, that's not good. It should be like, this is what they do. You know, this one thing is what I should do on this page. You know, click this button or watch this video or something. And the second thing would be social proof. So whether that's testimonials or case studies or just anything where you can show that you know you've got other clients or that people like you, essentially. They're the two biggest things, I think. You know, without those, you're missing out.
Yeah. And so you're doing a lot of this, and it seems like you've got a ton more, I wouldn't say spare time, but yeah, you've got a lot of these processes outsourced, and you just have to play your part in the team.
Mm-hmm.
So what else keeps you busy? Because I know entrepreneurs don't usually, or business owners don't usually sit around idly twiddling their thumbs. That tends to bore them to a degree. But so what's getting you excited and getting you pumped up at the moment in your business?
Our new software. So we're like I said before, we've come from a software background, and we've always been looking for something else. You know, another problem to solve, because I guess that's what we love doing, is solving problems. So you know, there's cloud software all over the shop now. So normally we'll be like, oh, this is a great idea, and then we'll find there's like 5 things that do it. But we've got a new software called Content Snare, which is aimed at web developers and designers, because we noticed like a massive bottleneck in our process. Basically, when you're getting the content out of clients at the beginning of a job, and that process is just shocking. And it turns out it's not just our business, because I spoke to about 15, 20 other designers, like on Zoom, Skype, and they all had the exact same problem. So we're like, oh man, shit, we better do something about this. So we've got we're in the process of building that now, and that's exciting the hell out of me, because we've got a whole bunch of I guess pre-sign-ups who are waiting in line to test it out when we finally launch it. So yeah, like software is that you know, and it turns out there's a whole lot of process stuff that web designers and developers need fixed. It just blows my mind how like bad processes everyone has in this space. So we're going to try and fix that.
Nice. And then what will that look like from like a product side of things? Will that be subscription or per use, or like?
Yeah, definitely subscription. Like the recurring revenue model's unreal, right? Like everyone's talking about that at the moment, and rightly so, because it gives you predictability in your business.
Yeah.
I mean, we even got that on the website side of things, right? Because we have the on-demand web guy service, which I'm sure we've spoken about before, which is like a monthly subscription where we basically look after people's sites and make changes when they need and whatever. And you know, that level of predictability is so good for a business, you know, like, so you're not always having to chase the next job and stuff. And software is like the next level of that, where your entire income is recurring. You know, it's like, like let's say you've got 500 users of your software. like let's say something catastrophic happens and you lose 100 people in a day, right? You've still got a pretty solid recurring income, like you're not chasing. So I don't know. That's definitely the model we'll be chasing.
Nice. And long term, next few years, where do you see yourself and your business?
Basically that, right? So software, like we're going to build this software out. Hopefully get a whole bunch of web developers on board. And I've always kind of had a passion to want to show other web designers and developers how to run their businesses better. Like I've sort of had this burning drive to do that for a while, and that's how we're going to market Content Snare in the beginning, with like a blog aimed at designers and developers.
Yep.
And I can see that sort of turning into something else down the track too, like maybe some training or course or something there. It's not, I don't think like 3 months ahead, let alone 2 years. But that's, I guess, what I'd say my dream is.
Yeah, nice. Few questions, I guess, just to round off, just
Sure.
a bit more in depth about you. What does a day look like for you at the moment?
Oh, at the moment, it's just changed a bit, actually. As you know, I took up residence in the capital, Little Tokyo 2 in Brisbane. So it's almost like having a real office now. So I've been coming in early with my girlfriend because she comes into the city early, like 8 o'clock, and leaving at 5. Man, I've gone full circle. I've got a bloody 9 to 5. But that's because I need to force myself to get a bunch of work done at the moment. It's a critical time. But that said, took last Thursday and Friday off. Taking this Friday off. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just coming in and knocking off the to-dos, right? With Content Snare, that's where a lot of my time's going. And it's like you were saying with physio, you know what you've got to do. Your targeted ads in the area, and you can repeat it. It's kind of cool because that's what Content Snare is for me. It's like all these things I've learned, I can bring them together and apply them to this new piece of software.
Yeah, and it's like, to me, it's got me really excited about physio because I ideally in the near future won't be doing it like again. It's kind of like this time thing to see. Hey, I've learned all this stuff. There should be proof in the pudding. Like I'm not really doubting it because it's how people it's how the good places are doing it. So I mean, it should work if it's well implemented. So it's kind of. And it also, doing podcast coaching and some other stuff, it kind of gets me out of the coaching space and feels real.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels not like I'm not just, fluffing pillows and doing stuff like that. Cause
not just another business coach. Just JAFBC.
Yeah. I'm gonna create that shirt. In regards to resources, books, resources, what's your recommendations for everyone out there?
Books?
Yeah.
Oh man, I think I mean you've probably had this 100 times, but Cialdini's Influence is a must-read for all people in business. And actually a lot of if you're looking to build I was going to say that with the website stuff before, like just read that book and you can apply a lot of principles from that to your website, like social proof, for example. That's a number one. Rework is one of my favorite other books that I've read.
Yeah. Okay.
And a book that I'm reading at the moment, which is one of my favorites, is Never Split the Difference, which is by a FBI or maybe still FBI hostage negotiator, talking about negotiation principles and how they apply to business. And it is awesome.
Yeah, okay. Ex-FBI hostage negotiator.
Yeah.
Like, I always saw them on movies and stuff, and I'm like, does that ever happen? Like,
yeah, dude, his story's the next level. Like he's talking to, like, it's unbelievable how many like actual hostage negotiations, whether it's like Abu Sayyaf in Philippines or, stuff like that. It's crazy. But it's very, very applicable to business, which is you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll add that to my normal list of books to to read. We'll link all of that in the show notes at passiveincomeyoung.com. If people, I just want to welcome you officially to the Youngpreneurs family. If people want to check you out, find out more about what you do, what you're up to, where can they go? What can they do?
Well, our website's at akturatech.com, which is akturatech.com. And other than that, it's Aktura Tech everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, or you can go to facebook.com/James Rose Page is my personal page. Or just add me as a friend /Jimmy Rose.
Wicked. So we'll link all of that at passiveincomeyoung.com. Thanks again, man. I look forward to seeing you super soon.
Very good. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for listening to the Youngpreneurs podcast. This was proudly brought to you by the Podcast Institute, the #1 training resource to take your business from chasing leads to leads chasing you, and from an absolute amateur to a full-blown authority. If you're looking to take your business to the next level, then a podcast is the obvious answer. You can get national and global exposure in a very fast time, and it's just exactly what I've done with this podcast. So if you want to find out more, get a checklist on how you can get started for under $60, and to find out more through a small training video that I've prepared for you all, then please check out passiveincomeyoung.com/podcast training.